No spoilers yet, in case you don't know. Gate memes, absolutely. Looks like, so we've actually got our first Maehv list. Don't think I've seen Maehv played in this format yet. That's a very interesting looking deck. And we've got versus Cassyva Gate, which I think is quite unusual. Normally I would expect to see Lilith heading up the Gate decks. So let's stack these bad boys up against one another. So on the left we have this Maehv deck. This is Duelmaster's deck, I believe. These Bagoon decks don't seem to have the name of the player on them, which is a bit awkward. So this has a lot of one-offs in it, which may indicate they wanted a lot of different tools for the situation, or may indicate that they have a kind of wonky collection that only has copies of, only have 1 or 2 copies of each of the key cards that they want, and so they just jammed them all in to fill up space. I'm kind of assuming the latter, because this looks like, we've got 3 copies of the basic cards, Healing Mystic, Gloom Chaser, Wraithling Swarm, 2 copies of Lure, plus some harder Dark Transformation. Those are all 3 obs, 3 Primus Shieldmaster, 3 Shadow Watcher. Those are all basic cards. And the others, we've got some commons, some rares, some epics, kind of scattered through. So I think this is more an issue of collection than of anything else. And actually, especially judged through that lens, this list looks really good. Like, this person has done what they can with basically a bunch of different cards. This looks like a Highlander deck almost. There's so many one-offs. But they've still got a coherent curve. These cards all seem to fit the same game plan. There's a few nice utility tools in there, like they've taken advantage of having only one-off top-end cards to like diversify their selections. Where is the Lurking Fear? I don't think this is a Lurking Fear deck. There's not that many death rattles. I think this is Maehv like tempo. Similar to decks I've been experimenting with. If you've watched my streams, there's basically the idea is you play early fodder that you can sacrifice to Malice to make 4/4s on the cheap, and then curve on up to with lots and lots of healing and up to like bigger minions at the top end. I play Desolators and don't go much beyond that. Although nowadays I'm also running things like Grovelion. So this player has like a few top end cards that don't need Malice to work. We've got a Dancing Blades, a Reaper, a Shadow Dancer, a Bone Reaper, a Deathblighter, a Grailmaster, and just scrolled off the end there's a Variax. And then a variety of spells. Again, I kind of like this mix. I like having only one Darkfire Sacrifice, because this isn't a Darkfire Sacrifice deck. There's not that much fodder for it. There aren't that many targets for it, but it's useful to have. One Shadow Reflection. I'm not sure that really fits, but the card can just get people, so it's not too bad for that. One Breath of the Unborn. I'd probably like to see a second copy of that. A Vellum Scry. Probably the same there. That could use being an additional copy. And then some removal spells in Dark Transformation and Demonic Lure. 5 total copies. I really want the cringy list to win. It's not cringy. This person they're new. They have a small collection. And I think they've actually done a really good job of putting together a deck that has a variety of tools and a coherent game plan with that. Like, this deck has loads of healing, some big minions, plenty of fodder for Maehv's Bloodborne spell, and then some payoff. They have the like Deathwatch synergy. Especially as Shadow Watcher and Shadow Dancer, if unanswered, can just run away with the game. And there's a couple of fun-ofs at the top end that, you wouldn't run more than one Grailmaster in a deck like this, but it's got cool synergy. Like, you play Grailmaster into Zix in the late game and your Zix suddenly does something. Like, if you flood on Zixes and Gloom Chasers later on, it's nice to have a reason to actually play them, rather than just queuing them up for replaces over the next several turns and hoping it works out. Whereas if you can go Grailmaster Zix and give your Grailmaster like Rebirth and Blast or whatever, your opponent's going to be sitting there like, oh god, I'm going to die. This player also has a sideboard. Oh, there's a Spectral Blade that was squeezed off the side as well. In the sideboard we have a 4th Primus Shieldmaster. That seems a bit awkward. That's probably meant to be something else. 2 Saberspine Tigers, 2 White Widows. It's very interesting. What does White Widow come in for? I guess it's just a 4-drop that you can use as removal if you get lucky. A lot of this looks like ways to raise the curve, just go a bit more mid-range, which makes sense. Like, against aggro or control decks that can easily deal with your 4/4s, or where you get punished for drawing 1/2s against control, you probably want to raise the curve a little bit. Revenant sideboard. So Revenant in the sideboard actually kind of makes sense. Revenant is way worse at 8 mana than it was at 7. Especially with only one Darkfire sacrifice in the deck. So I don't hate that. I think that's fine. I'm not sure I like the War Talon. That card isn't great. First Sword of a Crane is cute. That's a neat inclusion. Hey, Hardfile, thanks for joining. Sunday morning's been a thing for a long time. No, this is just for coverage streams, which I do about once a month. I usually end up doing them on Sundays, because they take a few hours. But normally I stream on Monday nights. Oh, my nights. It's like your mid-morning, I guess. Hopping over to the other list. Oh, this horizontal scroll bar is breaking me. This is Reds0l, or Reds0l's list. This one looking a lot less budgety. This person has clearly built their deck with, you know, everything they wanted in it. This is Cassyva Gate to the Undervault. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume this is meant to be a control deck, where we set up Gate and then try and protect it with removal, and with the pings providing repeated value, and, you know, trying to close off areas of the board by putting down creep tiles and threatening repeated damage. We've got Obliterate as an alternate finisher. That's kind of cool. It's a clever idea. There doesn't seem to be any additional creep generation, so 2 copies of Obliterate's probably... Oh, apart from Sphere of Darkness, I guess. So 2 copies of Obliterate's probably too many. Like, that is gonna... Oh no, there's Klaxons. I lie. Klaxon into Obliterate's a nice little combo. I think I'd still only play 1, though. I used to play 1 Obliterate in, like, creep control. The card is very clunky. That Maehv list is purest net deck, Kappa. Oh, don't be mean. They're just new. They're doing, like, this is, again, I think this Maehv list is really well built for someone who's new to the game and doesn't have a lot of cards. Like, they've worked with basically quite a stringent restriction. Their deck is basic cards and otherwise one-offs, more or less. And they've actually put together something quite coherent from that. Going back to the cast deck, I think this looks exciting. I like that there's lots of healing, because you're going to need that. I'm not sure what the Repulsor Beast is doing. I guess it sets up Wild Tar and protects the gate a bit. Oh, there's a Thunderhorn, okay. Yeah, Repulsor Beast into Thunderhorn's a good combo. Got Timekeeper to make the surprise gates come out. In terms of card draw, there's only a single Rite of the Undervault, which, like, maybe that works out. I think I'd cut an Obliterate for some other card draw effect. Like, you can put in a Sojourner or something. Maybe 2, so you just get rid of the Wild Tars, put Sojourners in, maybe. I mean, Tar is fine, but, like, especially with 2 Void Pulse in the deck, it's hard to... You're going to struggle with card flow sometimes. But otherwise, this list looks very crisp. I think the idea of playing Gate to the Undervault in a control shell is pretty cool. Because it triggers off, you know, every time you kill something, you get a 6/6. That's, like, a great way to unstoppably win a game. You don't need to have Wraithlings or what have you to sacrifice to it in order for it still to kill your opponent for you. It might just be less spectacular, but I think that's still... It's easier to flip it with an approach like this, so I think this will be... We're not being mean, we acknowledge we all started out like that. It's just funny to look at old us in the mirror, I guess. Oh, I know what you mean. I used to play... So my second legendary that I opened was a Pandora, and so I had 1 Pandora at the top end of all my decks for, like, ages. Because that card's really good when you're new, like, it's super solid. Especially at the time, you know, this was back in core, there were no expansions. So there were just a bunch of, the core set has a bunch of, like, expensive legendaries in it that don't tend to see much play nowadays, or if ever, but, like, they're all still quite powerful. Looking at Reds0l's sideboard, we have Rockadoptera. That's an interesting choice. I guess it's extra pings, and it can draw cards. Pings artifacts. Maybe that's why that's there. Kaleno for bonus healing. That seems sensible. Sunset Paragon for extra removal in AoE. I like that. I probably want to see that in the main, to be honest. Maybe that's what one of the Obliterates comes out for. 2 EMP. Perfectly sensible. Necrotic Sphere is extra AoE, and a second right. Okay, so there's another right in the sideboard. That kind of makes sense for slower matchups where you need it more. I like it. So let's get into the game. I always take way too long analyzing the first deck lists. So we've got Reds0l on the big screen. Reds0l, not Reds0l, okay. We've got, yeah, Reds0l on the big screen with a pretty decent opening hand here. And we've got Duelmaster on the small screen over the side. Inset a little bit. Quite like their hand as well. And Duelmaster's going first. So, from Red0l's perspective, do you want to make the double 2-drop turn 1? It's pretty reasonable because you can try and protect yourself against Maehv's early tempo. Like, the Healing Mystic and your General can together trade for a 4-4. You do lose some healing capabilities, but I think having the two of them down early is pretty good, and you've still got a Desolator for additional heal. So you can go turn 1, gum up the board. Turn 2, play a Gate to the Undervault in the back somewhere. Or possibly just a Thunderhorn, depending on how controlling you want to be. I think this hand's a fine keep. The only downside with it is it doesn't have any removal. So it might be worth replacing something just to look for a kill spell. Like maybe if you replace Desolator on one of these, you can play as a Herald on turn 1 as your, play defensively, like move up and play it up here instead of trying to fight for the center. Hopefully you have a kill spell to deal with your opponent's turn 2, and then you can drop Thunderhorn and start trying to fight for the board that way. I'd replace Herald. I think so. Your opponent is Abyssian. They have Demonic Lure, so 1/4s don't die to Demonic Lure on the first turn, whereas Healing Mystics do. So I think I keep the Azza Herald. Although you don't really need a mana tile, so maybe the extra power is useful. Right, so Duelmaster's obviously just going to hop forward, drop a Primus Fist. I think I would replace the Darkfire Sacrifice with no payoffs really in hand. No replace, just keep... Oh no, wait, I haven't... Hold on a minute. I always mess this up when when I start back. Alright, let's just get these resynchronized. So they replaced the Reaper. That's fair enough. It's going to be a while before you can cast it to any effect. Jump back up. Right. So, there's a Primus Fist. I don't think that radically changes anything. You can hop up here, play your Herald and Sphere of Darkness the mana tile if you want to be a bit more controlling. What 4-drops does Abyssian typically play that are particularly scary? Like, there's nothing much. I mean, we know that Duelmaster has a Primus Shieldmaster in hand, so denying this mana tile would actually be good. But Primus isn't very commonly played. So you don't normally expect something like that or Hailstone Golem. But you might expect multiple 2-drops, which they can do anyway using the other mana tiles. So probably denying this isn't that useful. Although with no AoE in the deck, it might be worth trying to mitigate the opponent's ability to spam stuff full stop. But then you have just as much of a good time doing that by taking the center. If you play more aggressively, you can trade easily with the opponent's minions. Then again, in a control deck with less card draw, you don't normally want to throw away your resources like that. These both paused again. Yes. I think we're going to see the aggressive play here. I think if you're doing this, you should put the Azza Herald in the middle. You want the Healing Mystic to survive. I'm putting it there. I don't like this so much because it gives your opponent much more, many more choices in terms of which to kill. Like your Maehv can now attack this and get rid of it. If you put the Azza Herald in the middle, it body blocks, and the Healing Mystic can't be hit by your general. Which keeps the 2/3 alive for trading. So Duelmaster's drawn a Wraithling Swarm, which is pretty good. Just drop in the Primus. That seems fine. Do you bother attacking? I'm not sure I'd bother attacking there. Because these can't do anything without getting rid of the Shieldmaster anyway. So Red0l's now drawn a Repulsor Beast. Do you do that? You can punt it and then, I guess, Sphere, something. Meh. Maybe it's better to just jam Gate now. You can put the Gate here. And just pass. Or put Thunderhorn on this mana tile. Sphere of Darkness the Primus and kill it. You can trade everything in. Then you have a Thunderhorn and they don't have anything meaningful. Looks like we're gonna... I don't like this Repulsor so much. I think that's... Ooh, replacing Gate, that's bold. So we're going for the trading plan here then. Except if you're doing that, why are you repulsoring? That doesn't seem worth it. So I guess... So now Red0l looks like they're going for to protect this mana tile. You can put these up to body block. That doesn't really work because Maehv can just walk around it. And we're getting the trades in on this. So Maehv's going to get this mana tile now. Whereas... So at this point you've used basically a combo piece. In order to temporarily remove a 4-drop. Because this is mostly good for either against aggro if you're being super pressured, or for killing Thunderhorns. Like, you can use the Sphere of Darkness and the 2-drops to just kill this. And then you end up with a Thunderhorn in play to your opponent's 2-3, which is much better than the board you've got here. Not sure I like this attack from Duelmaster. I think denying the mana tile might be valuable, because your opponent's clearly trying to leave it up. But maybe they're just playing 2 creatures here. I guess this works out kind of okay. Because the Klaxon can't come down. As it is, the Klaxon doesn't seem massively necessary. And this does just die on board to the random crappy creatures, so maybe that's not amazing. From Duelmaster's side of things, the hand is now looking very empty. But at least they get a 4/8. So they can try and buff the health of one of the Primuses. I don't think I like putting that on the... I guess Red0l's going to ping it? No, just play Thunderhorn and pass. Wow, no one wants this mana tile, huh? The Thunderhorn is kind of out of position. It can't really do anything next turn. You're playing it defensively, but so defensively that... I guess it's a Rattlesnake to prevent Duelmaster from pressuring too much. But it doesn't even really do that, because both the Primuses have high enough health not to die to it. So Maehv just needs to not spread out too much. Sorry, not get too close. So like play out lots of little minions around the Primus, which is, you know, relatively easy as a play. I guess you could just move up here and dump some stuff on the mana tile. Maybe move here, punch the Repulsor. Probably ship that 6. You can make a nice play where you put the Azahorn Shaman like here or here, and then sack it, make a 4/8 there, and this gets buffed, but without enabling Thunderhorn. And so you've spread out perfectly, but you've still managed to buff this. Like the change to Maehv's ability is very significant, I think. Putting down Wraithling Swarm, I'm not sure I like that. If Red0l had saved the Repulsor Beast, this would be a brutal punish, because you'd be able to move this slightly and attack it with... Move it to here and attack it with Thunderhorn and just hit all of these. This is some pretty good health buffing, though. Right, so Red0l wants a Repulsor Beast here, I think. Punish on this is pretty good. Could do Punish, Ping Punish. This attacks one of the 1/1s. You can Sphere of Darkness something. But that doesn't really do a ton. How did Maehv's ability change? Maehv's ability now places the 4/4 on a square of your choice next to the thing you sacrifice rather than replacing it. Which allows you to use things like Azahorn Shaman's ability and also give your units additional reach. You can move a unit and then sacrifice it, play a 4/4 one square further, you know, further away from the opponent, further towards the opponent. Which really helps when doing things like playing around Thunderhorn, playing around Mechanical Warbeast. It also allows you to get more reach in terms of... I just put that in the corner. I guess there is fine. You don't really need it to be surrounded by empty squares. Yeah, I think... No punish, wow. Red0l's going to take a lot of damage here. Yeah, sorry, keep getting distracted. So, the ability allows you to spread out your forces a lot. You can, like, move a unit, play something next to it, and then sacrifice the thing you just played and make a 4-4 even further, and just, like, really push your board presence across the screen. Which, like, Abyssians aren't a massively board presence-centric faction, but it does help Maehv's tempo game plan quite a lot. And it means you can do stupid stuff with, yeah, Azorhorn Shaman, where you just play a 4-8, like, 5 squares away from where you started the turn. It's ludicrous. Oh, I didn't unlock Maehv until after the change, so I always wondered what it used to be like. Ah, fair enough. The one thing that saddens me about Maehv is that her interaction with Horror Burster relies on RNG. So Reds0l has a demonic... Reds0l. Duelmaster has a demonic lure in hand here, which allows them to clear the gate. Which I would play. Like, that seems an imperative. Thunderhorn might have a bit of a field day here. Bone Reaper. Ooh, I do not like that play. Oh no, what are you doing? No! You're gonna get Thunderhorned. I know they all have lots of health, but like... You're just throwing away board position here. Don't like that line at all. Like, I see what they were going for, right? The minions all have lots of health, and you want to pressure Red0l a decent amount, but like... You know, this really opens up the possibility that Red0l can clear them easily. Whereas previously, like, you have 4 9 health units in there, they're gonna not do anything. You've just lost 24 HP of board presence. Whereas it would have been much easier to just spread out a bit more. Probably lure the gate and attack it to death. Or maybe on this tile. And play a little more conservatively. I don't think it's a misplay. It's more that I think they thought, well, they all have lots of health and I want to get in and surround the opponent. But then nothing actually attacked Red0l, so that didn't even really come together coherently. This is an interesting game to watch. I think there's a lot of things I do differently on both sides. And then punish the 3-5 presumably as well. You do want to cast that punish. You have nothing to do next turn. Wow, the gate doesn't even die after all that. Without Duelmaster using one of the demonic lures, which hopefully they will. Breath of the Unborn, that's a good draw. Does that clear the 0-6? It does not. So you can breath plus lure, plus like a malice. Replace it to Timekeeper Plus, that'd be great. Yeah, so I like this. So you can attack, hit the 0-6, cast Breath, sack the 1-1 to get a 4-4, probably. Lure the gate so it dies. Come on, Duelmaster, do the right thing. Do it. Yeah. No, I think the gate's gonna die. Yeah, Duelmaster making the right place. No! No, 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 no. Oh no. Oh, it's not worth it. To be fair, I've done this. Like, taking lines going, oh yeah, well they can't build it for 2 turns, and they're just getting wrecked by Timekeeper. So, does Red0l have it? Let's find out. Void Pulse isn't terrible. So this Klaxon doesn't fully protect the gate. But it does a lot of work. And Red0l has the option here to just jam the Klaxon, move up. No, move up. Go face. Face. Nice. I would have actually gone up here and punched Reds0l, punched Duelmaster, and then played Void Pulse. Like, you're on loads of health here. You're pretty. Oh god, that's a pretty good draw. You're on loads of health here. You're pretty comfortable. So getting her further down is quite useful. No, the dream. I mean, like, Duelmaster got pretty lucky there. They're still going to flip this gate, but like, it's going to be hard. They have to trade everything into the Klaxon. Oh, Deathblighter though. That's a good draw. It's impactful. I guess they could just Demonic Lure the Klaxon. Lure is very good against Klaxons. They can Demonic Lure plus Reaper of the Nine Moons for a decent amount of value there. No, just playing the Deathblighter. That's kind of nice because it keeps the 4-8 alive. You can go over and your face. The Obliterate is just lethal now though. That's the other thing. Not what's with this Demonic Lure? Like, Duelmaster just doesn't want to cast this, and I don't know what you're sandbagging it for because you need it. Like, Klaxon is probably the best Demonic Lure target in the game, you know, apart from Imara healer. I do like this aggressive line. I'm not sure I like Maehv coming in to tangle herself. Like, you do not want to take random damage from your opponent at this point. But it's irrelevant because Obliterate is just going to kill everything, including Maehv. Yeah, Demonic Lure on the Klaxon would have been a much better play there. You can get a Reaper down as well, which is a very big solid unit. Don't you dare to disrespect the Unholy Gate. I mean, the gate didn't flip, but as it turned out, that didn't really matter. So this is a noob tournament. Yeah, it's a rookie brawl. So it's people who, I think, haven't made... Is it S rank? Or Diamond? Something like that. So typically the experience levels tend to vary. There's sometimes people who have played quite a bit but just haven't quite gotten the high ranks yet, and there's sometimes people who've been playing for a week or two. So we'll look at game 2 from Duelmaster's perspective. Right, so this opening hand looks terrible. I say terrible. It looks fine. I just have a thing against Gloom Chaser as a card. Like, the problem with running stuff like this in Maehv is that you need to get value off Malice with it. And so if you end up playing lots of them, you use Malice like once or twice a game a lot of the time because it damages you. You often can't afford to. So you're playing like 6, Gloom Chasers and 6s and other, or Cryptographers or whatever, random cards that only, actually, Cryptographer at least re-enables the Malice, but even then, like, because of the life loss, that usually isn't it. It's the same. A lot of people ask me why I don't run Prophet of the White Palm in Maehv, and it's the same answer. Like, if you can't do anything with it unless you're sacrificing it to Malice, and it's very good at that, but there's an unlimited number of good Malice targets, and so I find I'd much rather have, nowadays my thinking, I'd much rather have something like an Ephemeral Shroud, where I can dispel something for actual value, then sack it and make a 4/4. Yeah, I'll lose life, but I'd much rather have a dispel than a random 2/2 or 1/2. But I'm not sure still. Like, I definitely don't consider my Maehv deck to be complete. Gate is back. Gate is very much back. We've got a pretty reasonable opening hand for Reds0l over here, going second. So from Duelmaster's perspective, I'd ship a redundant Wraithling Swarm. Like, you definitely don't need 2 of these. There's no Soul Grimoire in this deck or whatever. But the Vellum Scry is good with all these Wraithlings, and I might hold on to that just because there's a chance you run very low on resources playing all these little cards. So I'd probably ship this as well, just because it's expensive, it's not going to come up for a few turns, and it's not the most amazing removal spell on the planet. So I'd probably get rid of Wraithling Swarm and Dark Transformation. Shipping Vellum Scry, that's defensible. I think in terms of... Oh, there we go. Yeah, they made the replace I would have. Nice one, Duelmaster. Alright, so Gloom Chaser turn 1 easy. Thunderhorn just enjoying Wraithling meter. Oh yeah, that Thunderhorn's going to have a field day, isn't it? Duelmaster doesn't have any removal in hand, so this is going to be dirty. Hell, even the Wild Tower's good. I think I would have actually gone up this way. Like, if you put a Frenzy unit over here, next to all these small things, it's going to be much more likely to get value, whereas now Duelmaster can kind of develop their board on this side of things. You get a mana tile, but whatever, right? That doesn't really make much difference. So what do you do here as Duelmaster? You just play out some Wraithing Swarms and let them die? I guess you just play them over here. Be careful, essentially. Equipping the Spectral Blade doesn't seem bad. You can come... You can take the mana tile and let it die. Oh no. Oh no. They didn't read Wild Tar. This is going to be bad. Oh no. This is the awkward thing with Swamp decks. Like, your best hands look like this, and then your opponent has a random Tempest and you die. So this Wild Tower is going to be very happy right now. Clearing away a card and a half for no mana. Ooh, more comments. As I participated in one of the previous Rookie Brawls, I finished in 4th position without winning a single round. We need more players. Yeah, the last couple have been quiet, haven't they? I would... So from Reds0l's position, you can probably afford to gate here. I know that the Thunderhorn will be awesome, so maybe that is just better on pure power level. Yeah. So from Duelmaster's side, I would be using these 1/1s to kill this Wild Tar, probably. I guess maybe you can Spectral Blade it instead. But you don't really have a follow-up. Good, I better watch random cards and bad plays than some continuous disbalance and bad mechanics. Streamer doing a good job here. Oh, thank you very much. I really like doing these because I find it really useful to be able to learn about how people approach the game when they don't know that much about it. Bit of a miss sequence here. You're taking 2 damage either way, but now you're actually losing a charge on the artifact, which is a big deal because Cassyva can just knock it off. Careful of Thunderhorn here. This Zix is maybe a bit greedy. You want to play it over here or here, where the Thunderhorn can't reach it. Oh no, unlucky roll. Actually, to be fair, it's like 1 in 4 for it not to do that. Yeah, so Thunderhorn's going to clean house. Get rid of all these. You at least have this Vellum Scry. Demonic... Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Like... That was like Trollden levels of blowout, but I'm too sad about it to call it a meme. It's like depressingly dank. Reds0l's hand is paused. Oh no! I'm so sorry, guys. Let me fast forward that a bit. Let's get this caught up. Fun and interactive trademark. In fairness, that is relatively interactive in that they're... Demonic Lure aside, there are a ton of ways that Duelmaster could have spaced out a bit more. And it is partly that Thunderhorn just hard counters this stuff. You know, Wraithing Swarm is so soft to AoE in particular. And Thunderhorn is 0 mana AoE when it gets to hit. Hey, Walker Paranor, thanks for joining. I don't know how you keep all these OBS sources straight. I normally do a better job of it than this. But it's very difficult. I wish I had a 3rd screen, basically, because I have to run... Basically, on the 2nd screen, I have chat and OBS basically on top of a browser window with Duelyst in. And so there's just this tiny strip at the bottom where the hand is visible. You can see my mouse moving right now. So I can't actually see the rest of the screen. I have to minimize the windows to switch matches and stuff. It's a huge pain. Alright, we're almost caught up. It's taking forever to fast forward because of how much stuff Duelmaster was doing. But we're almost there. It's just playing through Duelmaster's previous turn now. So while we're there, I guess, while we're waiting, I guess we can think about what Duelmaster does now. Because this is really awkward. There's not even any Vellum Scry targets in play. This is doing nothing. Like, none of these cards are online right now. I think you replace Breath of the Unborn and you try and play this in order to have Vellum Scry food. But there's not really much else you can do. Like, this game is basically just over. Both the Ziggs positioning and the right, here we go. Back in business. Hey, Reds0l. Thanks for joining. Smile, you're on camera. Drawing Dark Transformation, that seems fine. This 1/1 is technically Vellum Scry food. Oh, they replaced it. That's probably not the best idea. Because you're going to need that Vellum Scry to get back into this game. Reds0l can kind of do whatever they want now. I guess you just jam Klaxon because it's the most efficient on-curve play and will end the game faster than the gate at this point. Some odd positioning. Yeah, I don't like this. This seems weirdly passive. Like, Klaxon is just a big creature. It will kill your opponent the old-fashioned way. This gate's going to take like 5 turns to do anything. And you can easily have won by then. No memes this round. I think Reds0l disagrees. Not a great draw from Duelmaster here. This is kind of highly medium. Like, I guess. To be fair, this actually looks okay. This looks a lot worse for Reds0l than I would have expected given their dominant position. So I think, like, this looks way worse if the Klaxon is in play. But as it is, that's a strong turn. Considering the position Duelmaster's in, that's a very strong turn. We're threatening to clear the gate. I think I was looking to pull any removal on the gate then jam Klaxon. That's reasonable. I mean, if your Klaxon gets lured, you'll still have plenty of time to get it set up and in play. And any other removal at least gives you outs to draw Obliterate and just insta-kill your opponent. Hey, Project2EL, thanks for joining. But yeah, thanks for explaining, Reds0l. It's good to know your decision process. Obviously, I can't read mine, so I just kind of have to guess what everyone was thinking when I'm doing this. T-Horn down. Clearing the Shadow Watch is pretty sensible. Primus is a good draw here. You can put it there and then run away from it. Allowing you to beat up the gate. And hopefully keep the Thunderhorn locked up. Yeah, this is a gate cast deck. It's pretty sweet. My interpretation is the plan is to basically flip gate by drawing out the game, rather than have gate as payoff for playing a Deathwatch deck. I had a new oven put in the other day because my old one died to death, so my estate agents replaced it. And I just used it for the first time for my dinner. But now my house smells kind of oveny and I'm really paranoid. I keep checking that I haven't left it on. Alright, this is now going pretty convincingly south. Having to sack a healing Mystic is a bit sad. I guess the main hope here is Demonic Lure. But you're still pretty much dead. Yeah. And we're done. Well, Gate transformed on the very end of the game. Never done anything.